Blair Longley. I'm the leader of the Marijuana Party. I regard marijuana as the single simplest symbol, the most extreme example of the pattern of social facts. And so marijuana, to begin with, the name, it's Spanish slang. Hemp is the original English word, cannabis the Latin word, so forth and so on. It's very confusing to talk about because there's been so much propaganda for so long. But the basic facts are simple. Pot is the single best plant on the planet for people. It has the highest quality protein in its seeds. It's a good seed-bearing plant, good quality oil for nutrition. In fact, it's one of the few plants that can actually survive eating nothing but it. So to begin with then, food first and foremost. Then of course, it's a high quality fiber, a source of biomass, and you know, medicine. A lot of people need it to survive. If you put all the properties of the plant together, there's no other plant that's better for people. It is as close to the tree of life as you can get. Now, then this raises lots of questions as to why it's criminal. And I hope later on I'll give away this. It's got a chronology of the major events that happened and, you know, my song and dance about this. But basically, what I try and explain here is what I call the bizarro mirror world funhouse. That society is actually controlled by the people who are the best at being dishonest. So everything's backwards. And so since pot is the single best plant on the planet for people, the law says, oh, marijuana is almost as bad as murder. And the single biggest thing the police do is enforce the pot prohibition. And actually this election has a lot to do with that because Harper was in contempt of Parliament because he didn't want to reveal how much his fascist police programs would cost. That's one of the reasons he was found in contempt, because, you know, the war on drugs is 75% against marijuana. The organized crime, the backbone of funding, because you've taken the single best plant for fun, food, fiber, medicine, whatever, and you've said, no, no, that's totally evil and you can't have that. And by putting that pressure on the best plant, they've created this psychotic situation. And, you know, pot prohibition's headed towards a psychotic breakdown because it's nothing but huge lies backed up with violence, decade after decade, willful blindness. You know, it's very surreal. You know, all the official government studies like the Schaefer Report in the United States, the Ledane Report in the 1970s, then later the Nolan Report here in Canada in 2002. It's not hard to find out the facts. Everything I'm saying you can prove. But the big picture is that the government of Canada is actually controlled by the international banksters, and they profit from every evil thing they can possibly do. So the international banksters are controlling the government by controlling the money supply. Follow the money to the source. They are the main funders of the politics. The election's a puppet show, red puppet, blue puppet, good cop, bad cop, so forth. You don't get any popping of the bubble that the voters are in. They're in this information bubble. They've been lied to their whole life. And, you know, the alternatives, they try and make sure that we have no ability to pop that bubble so that the people who vote can watch their TV and not know anything and except, you know, what they've been showing. And it's mostly lies by omission. So, you know, I don't know how much of my time. Anybody got a track of my 5 minutes? I don't know if I'm running out of time quick. But bottom... Huh? Okay, the bottom line is that the problem, marijuana is almost a mainstream issue now, right? Like often success for a small party is when a big party steals your ideas. And so, you know, marijuana is almost a mainstream issue. But the problem with saying legalize, tax, and regulate is that the monetary and taxation system is almost inconceivably crazy and corrupt, as the Canadian Action Party, you know, it's one of their pillars, the fiat money system, privatized money as debt. It's inconceivably crazy that the people of Canada have given away the power to make money out of nothing to private banks that then lend us back to us as interest, and then they buy up control of all the corporations. And it's that system that criminalized cannabis and wants to criminalize it more. And so, you know, we're in general alliance with everybody who wants to resist that runaway fascist plutocracy. Just like Will said of the First Nations Party, the global pirates that came and robbed Canada and dispossessed the natives, they're going to work their way through the list. The Canadian people are on the list to be dispossessed. If we don't organize resistance, you know, that's what's going to happen.
I've heard a lot so far this afternoon that I couldn't agree with more, and a lot that I couldn't disagree with more. And I'm looking forward to being able to discuss some of those issues. But there are a couple of points that I'd like to respond to right now, if I could. First off, Miguel mentioned that a majority is what we want. That's one of the points with which I couldn't disagree more. Democracy is about negotiation, and nothing forces negotiation more than a minority government. We need that structure. Ideally, we'd have a coalition government. This is something that I believe very strongly in. As well, I do take exception to the idea of global pirates, because I don't think we should be characterized as evil.
Pirates were the good guys, actually.
Oh. Alrighty. I'm good with that then. In a nutshell, the Pirate Party stands for two ideals: free speech and democracy. On this basis, we speak for ideals that are not spoken for in Parliament today, not spoken for by many groups, including groups at this table here today. Essentially, we stand for reform of copyright laws to benefit consumers, artists, and innovators instead of big business. We want to reform the patent system to benefit innovation, to build our economy, and ultimately to grow our economy to benefit innovation. And we want to open government, because we believe that democracy cannot survive if you do not know what your MP is up to, what your tax dollars are paying for. Finally, we believe in reinforcing privacy laws. Developing technology makes it much, much easier to track everything you're doing, particularly online, and we need to fix that. The law needs to keep pace with that. Beyond that, we've made a deliberate decision not to build a comprehensive platform, as some of these other parties have done. We have members from all over the political spectrum. We have former apathetic voters who have finally found a movement that they can believe in. We have former conservatives, liberals, NDs, Greens, libertarians, everyone under the sun. Because these are issues that transcend the political spectrum. These are things that are going to be important in the 21st century, and they're going to affect everyone here. So, beyond our core platform, we require each of our candidates to build a comprehensive platform of their own to respond to the unique needs of our constituents. I have my own comprehensive platform, but that's not what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm going to focus exclusively on the issues central to the Pirate Party, because today I'm here speaking for the party as a whole. In terms of the question of what a small party can do, what change we can make in the world today, I don't believe that it's just a matter of convincing larger parties to adopt our platform. If we can get these issues on the political radar, then so much the better. But we've had a significant effect on the political scene already. We are the newest party present here today. This is our first general election. So far, we have been involved in the Jasmine Revolution in Tunisia. We are the first political party in Canada to get involved in the ongoing struggle for democracy. We pushed for the release of political prisoners from the Pirate Party of Tunisia, and when the internet began to be censored and monitored, we launched a VPN service to ensure that they would have unrestricted access to the internet. Harper has recently announced that he will push through an omnibus bill within 100 days that includes a lawful access provision that would involve widespread warrantless wiretapping of your internet. In response to that, we have launched what the Mark referred to as one of the election's most innovative ideas. We are expanding our VPN service to all Canadians. It will cost $10 per 200 gigabytes, and it will provide secure escape from monitoring by the Harper government. This is protection from a Harper majority. Finally, I'd like to talk briefly about the idea of intellectual property, because this is the fundamental problem with the system we're sitting in right now, with the copyright system, with the patent system. We have this idea ingrained in our minds, even when we think about reforming copyright laws, making them looser, making them more consumer friendly. we have this idea that we can own an idea, we can own a culture, we can own something that we have created. Well, the example I like to use is of a couch. If I make a couch, and I want it to be my couch, I'm not going to sell it to anyone, I'm not going to give it away, I'm going to keep it in my living room. Yet if I write a song, I expect that I'm going to be able to sell it, I'm going to be able to give it away, and I am still going to be able to control everything that happens to it. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense, and it's holding us back as a people and as a culture. Finally, our position has to be one of ensuring that artists have the ability to continue to create art, because ultimately that's what it's about. But we don't need to create an incentive, because as an artist myself, I find it offensive that I would not create art without money. We want to be able to encourage artists to devote themselves to their work, but an incentive is unnecessary. I'm looking forward to discussing these issues more with you. I hope you have some fantastic questions, and I'm sure you will. And thank you very much.
Qui parle français ici? Bon, bonjour, comment ça va? C'est à peu près tout ce que vous allez entendre en français, puisque c'est des oreilles anglophones qu'on a ici. I want to thank all my ministers for exploring our platform. They did it really well. The Rhinos Party was founded in 1963 by Dr. Jacques Ferron and a bunch of fools and intellectuals, because they wanted to show the ridicule of the Canadian system for Quebec. And after they participated in all the elections, then in 1978 I joined. We were a bunch of clowns and musicians from the street. We decided that it was our duty to participate in the election, but no party accepted us as members, so we had to create our own, because we dress funny, we talk funny, we fart in public, we do all kinds of things. Then, in 1979, we became an official party in Canada with 69 candidates through Canada, and we got 69,000 votes. At that time, we promised to have an election every 6 months. Well, 6 months later, in 1980, there was an election. We had 121 candidates through Canada, and we gathered 121,000 votes. And then we started to play at each election. Then in 92, they raised the caution from $200 to $1,000, and you needed 50 candidates to be an official party. We didn't have $50,000, so we decided to boycott. We were also a little bit tired, so we ended the Rhinos Party. I went into burlesque terrorism then. I was throwing pie. I threw a pie in the face of the chief of police of Montreal, who was running for mayor. I didn't throw the pie. I brought the pie to his face. And then in 2006, we decided to go back into election because there was too much danger with burlesque terrorism. So we decided, we formed the Neo-Rhino Party of Canada. Neo for Neo in the Matrix movie, and Rhino for the old rhinos. We wrote a manifesto called Achievable Utopia. In that, we have the history, and we decided to have a platform, but they all said our platform, we want to abolish the military budget, we want to abolish the fiscal evasion paradise, and we want to abolish Canada. To make, like Europe, different countries. So we could say, vive la Colombie-Britannique libre, vive l'Alberta libre, vive l'Ontario libre, et vive le Québec libre. And then we felt a little strange because we said, wow, we're just a bunch of little Frenchies there, and we're surrounded with all these Anglophones. So we wanted to unite with Cuba and create a new country called Quebec. Actually, we went 4 times in Cuba. We went to the colloque of the 5 heroes of Cuba. We were there, they invited us, and we made a film, which is on sale after, because we have to pay our train fare. And then last year, I live in the Myland in Montreal, and a lot of Anglophones come, artists and musicians come there. But finally, the district became a lot English-speaking, so we decided to make a little book called Learn French and French a Lot, to teach Anglophones in Montreal to learn French and French a lot. So they do now. It's also for sale on the trip. And then I want to show you the example that we are fools, but in 1980 we promised to abolish the law of gravity. 2 years ago, the founder of Cirque du Soleil, Guy Laliberté, bought himself a 35 million trip to space. Well, I sent him an email and I said, could you bring a rhino badge in space? He said, yes. So when he came back, he gave it to me and he took a picture. And the rhino badge is just there, hanging there, in the air. So we did abolish the law of gravity finally. Before we promised never to keep our promise, because we learned from other politicians what to do. That's what we do. And now you can see in Iceland, in Reykjavik, there was a municipal election, and you can check that on internet. The best party. There are a bunch of comedians and singers, and they won. They won in Reykjavik. And in Brazil, there's a clown called Tiririca in Sao Paulo, and he got 1,500,000 votes. Because in Brazil, you are obliged to vote, or they take out your Brazilian citizenship. So we promise that we should oblige Canadian people to vote so they can get their Brazilian nationality. So that's about it. Just to show you that money-wise, here's a $2 that we made with 1 penny, because they're going to throw them away. Eh? So we decided we recycle them, and we call them $2, 2 art piece. But in Montreal, in different bars and places, you can go there and it's worth $2. You can buy a beer or pay whatever it is, $2. So economy-wise, we are not that full, finally. And here is an example of our campaign. This year, we promise you the moon, and we promise you the return of the smile on the Canadian passport, because we are becoming a nation now. So check our website, neorhino.ca, and vote for whoever you want.